You say you want closeness. You want someone who chooses you, understands you, and stays. But when someone finally shows up with real consistency and genuine care, something inside you tightens. You pull back. You overthink. You freeze emotionally. You suddenly feel unsure if you want what you said you were ready for. And this reaction isn't random. It's protective. When someone actually cares about you, it activates an old alarm system in your body. Not because the person is unsafe, but because care itself never felt safe before. If your early experiences taught you that love comes with unpredictability, disappointment, or emotional volatility, then care becomes confusing. Love and danger became wired together, and your nervous system learned to brace for impact even in calm moments. So when someone shows affection in a stable, consistent way, your first instinct isn't to open up. It's to retreat. You feel exposed, seen, vulnerable, and a part of you believes that being seen is dangerous. Because in the past, being visible meant being judged, dismissed, or burdened with someone else's emotions. So you protect yourself by creating distance before anything can hurt you. Pushing people away doesn't come from a lack of desire for connection. It comes from an old belief that connection is unpredictable and that closeness eventually leads to pain. Even if the person in front of you is different, your body is still responding to the past. You might tell yourself you need space, but what you actually need is safety. Emotional safety, relational safety, nervous system safety. You may also push people away because care feels too intense. Not in a chaotic way, but in a vulnerable way. When someone genuinely cares, you lose control over how they see you. You can't hide behind your independence anymore. You can't pretend you don't need anything. Care forces you to confront the parts of yourself you have kept guarded for years. And that confrontation can feel overwhelming. Sometimes you convince yourself that the person cares too much or that the connection is moving too fast. But often these thoughts are simply your mind trying to justify the discomfort your body feels. Your mind creates narratives to make sense of the internal alarm. The idea that something is off, the feeling that the timing is wrong, or the belief that the person isn't truly for you. But underneath those narratives is fear, not truth. If you grew up in environments where you had to earn attention or work for affection, unconditional care feels suspicious. You brace for the moment when the tone changes, when the withdrawal happens, when the disappointment arrives. So rather than waiting for something to go wrong, you create the distance yourself. Pulling away becomes a way to control the fallout. If you leave first, you can't be left. There's also the fear of sufficiency. When someone cares about you, you might worry that you won't be able to meet their expectations or that you'll disappoint them once they truly know you. So instead of risking failure, you sabotage the connection early. This is not because you think poorly of yourself, but because emotional intimacy demands honesty, and honesty exposes your insecurities. Your nervous system may also confuse calm for boredom. If you're used to relationships filled with emotional high and lows, inconsistency, or intense chemistry, then steady care can feel flat. It doesn't activate your survival patterns. It doesn't trigger adrenaline. It doesn't give you the emotional spike your system associates with love. So you assume the lack of chaos means lack of connection, when in reality, it means your body hasn't adjusted to peace yet. Healing this pattern begins with awareness. Notice the moment your instinct is to pull back. Notice the tightness in your chest when someone gets close. Notice the urge to sabotage or create emotional distance. These are not proof that the person is wrong for you. They are proof that your system is trying to keep you safe based on outdated information. You don't have to suddenly open up or force yourself to trust. You only need to stay a moment longer than you normally would. Allow yourself to feel the discomfort without running from it. Care is not danger. Affection is not a trap. Stability is not abandonment disguised. Your system simply needs new experiences repeated over time to update its definition of safety. You can begin by letting small gestures land. Let the compliment sit in your body before rejecting it. Let the warm tone in someone's voice be felt before your mind analyzes it. Let yourself respond slowly instead of shutting down impulsively. A few seconds of tolerance creates a pathway for deeper connection to grow. It's also important to understand that pushing people away is not who you are. It's what you learned. And what you learned was intelligent. It protected you once. But that protection may now be limiting you. You are not the child who had to guard their heart. You are not the teenager who had to pretend they didn't care. You are an adult who deserves connection that feels safe instead of threatening. When someone shows up with steady affection, try asking yourself a different question. Instead of "what's wrong with this?" ask "what feels unfamiliar about this?" Instead of "why do I feel nothing?" ask "what is my body afraid to feel?" Instead of "should I pull away?" ask "what part of me is trying to protect me right now?" There is a version of you beneath the defenses who deeply wants to be seen, who wants to be chosen without conditions, who wants to lean into a love that is soft, grounded, and real. This part of you is not weak. It's the truest part. The part that never stopped hoping for safe connection even when your nervous system told you it was dangerous. You do not push people away because you don't care. You push them away because caring feels vulnerable, because receiving feels risky, because your past taught you to survive, not to connect. But you are allowed to learn connection now. You are allowed to update your nervous system. You are allowed to experience care without flinching. You also need to understand that your instinct to distance yourself is not a sign that you shouldn't connect. It's a sign that your system is waking up to the possibility of something different. Growth rarely feels comfortable at first. In fact, discomfort is often the first indicator that you're stepping into a new emotional territory. Your mind may resist it, but a deeper part of you knows you're ready for a healthier kind of closeness. Pushing people away is usually a way of maintaining control. When you are in control, you cannot be surprised, hurt, or abandoned. But connection is inherently unpredictable. You cannot script how someone will see you or how they will hold your emotions. You cannot perfectly manage how the relationship will unfold. And that lack of control is not weakness. It's an opening for intimacy. There will be moments when someone's care feels too intense or when their presence stirs something unfamiliar inside you. Instead of immediately withdrawing, try pausing long enough to see what part of you is being activated. Sometimes it's the child who never felt safe. Sometimes it's the teenager who learned to shut down. Sometimes it's the adult who's afraid of repeating old wounds. These parts don't need rejection. They need reassurance. Let these inner parts know that they are not being abandoned by letting someone else in. They are being expanded. They are being invited into a new definition of love. A definition where closeness is not followed by chaos. Where affection doesn't dissolve into disappointment. Where being chosen doesn't lead to being controlled. Connection becomes possible the moment you stop treating your fear as a verdict and start treating it as information. Fear doesn't mean stop. Fear means slow down. Fear means stay curious. Fear means you're touching the edge of an old wound, not creating a new one. And when you meet that fear with presence instead of avoidance, something remarkable happens. The fear begins to soften. You may think you need to fix yourself before letting someone close. But connection is part of healing, not a reward for having healed. You don't have to be perfectly regulated, perfectly confident, or perfectly ready. You only have to be willing. Willing to stay open for a few seconds longer. Willing to feel instead of flee. Willing to let someone care even when your first instinct is to push them away. Little by little, the walls you built don't collapse. They simply become doors. And you learn that opening a door is not the same as breaking your defenses. It's choosing when to let someone in. It's choosing connection over isolation. It's choosing possibility over fear. One day, you will look back and realize that the people you pushed away were never proof that you're incapable of loving. They were proof that you were still learning how to receive love. And learning is messy. Learning is vulnerable. Learning takes time. But you are learning. And that is enough. Someone caring about you is not a threat. It's an invitation. An invitation to finally rest. To stop bracing. To stop anticipating loss. To let your heart soften instead of shrink. And little by little, as safety becomes familiar, closeness will stop feeling overwhelming and start feeling like the home you never had. You don't have to push love away anymore. You're allowed to let someone stay.